call the meeting to order of the Leominster School Committee. Today is Monday, February 3rd. If everyone can rise of the Pledge of Allegiance. Is that right? What? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our school statement. The committee represents the needs of all Leominster Public School students and places their interests above all others. We will exercise leadership, adhere to our protocols, and base our decision upon a reasoned assessment of all available information. We will advocate for each of our schools and support high-quality public education in Leominster. At this time, I'd like to open the meeting for the open forum. If anybody would like to address the committee, please step forward to the mic, state your name and address for the record. If anybody would like to address the committee, please come forward now. And having no one come forward, the final and last time, if anybody would like to address the committee, please come forward. All right, we're going to close that portion of our meeting, and we're going to move right on to communications. Superintendent?
There are no communications this evening.
Okay, then we'll move right forward to the superintendent report.
Before we begin this evening, I would like to acknowledge the unexpected loss of a student here in Leominster Public Schools. We lost Jason Ethart, an 8th grader at Skyview, on January 22nd, and I would like to observe a moment of silence. Thank you. Moving forward, we are down to 9 days of school before our February break. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but we have a lot planned. So attendance is pertinent over the next few days, but we are starting to see sort of an uptick with sickness, illness, and perhaps some flu-like symptoms. And I have to say it's with the adults as well. So if you have any symptomatics, say a temperature, child doesn't feel well, please, before you send your child to school, just check it out. There's no need. Even though I keep saying attendance is important, I need wellness before attendance. So send your happy kids, your well kids, and then we'll take care of the rest. So 9 days to go. Also, we have been working on continuing our professional growth. Today we had an experience that we actually called personal growth today. Good evening, Mr. Mayor. We had professional development. Our staff joined together at Leominster High, and we brought in a motivational speaker. His name was Dr. Adolph Brown. And Dr. Brown is in the top 1% of the most sought after speakers in the country. And we brought him in because we knew that it was time for Leominster Public Schools. He not only was motivational, but he was inspirational. And he led us down a professional path this afternoon where we could get into some pretty discreet conversations, some tough topics, and I felt that as a community of colleagues, we came together in support of Leominster Public Schools. It was well worth our time and our energy, so I want to thank the members that were able to be here all day with us and our staff. I'm still hearing from people all day long, so I know that the work is good, and we love to say when we think we're done, we've just begun. So we are setting a good step forward, so thank you all for your attendance. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to move right on to our Northwest Elementary School presentation. Where are folks? Yeah.
Good evening, and welcome to our Bulldog community. Tonight, we proudly spotlight our amazing students and staff in our Student Support Center, also known as our SSC. When Brian and I reflected on our work and asked for ideas for tonight's meeting, our students and teachers in the SSC jumped at the opportunity to share their year and their work with you. Many changes have happened over the year. Thanks to budget and funding, Ms. Kelly Dolan is our full-time school adjustment counselor dedicated to the SSC program. Ms. Bosco brings incredible energy and dedication as their teacher. Our paraprofessionals go above and beyond, and we have the most amazing students who are growing socially, emotionally, and academically each and every minute. Please know that the presentation you are about to see is completely student-driven and highlights their thoughts, their feelings, and their emotions. Ms. Dolan and Tiana, Orion, and Derek, it's been a really busy day today. I'm feeling a little anxious, and I really want to focus on your presentation. And I'm sensing that some people in the room might not be quite ready as well. So I'm going to ask you to take a few seconds and maybe shine a little light on how you start your mornings so that you can get into a zone where you're ready to learn.
Okay, friends, so to get into the green zone, we do a little thing called bunny breathing. So you're going to take 2 quick, deep breaths in through your nose and 1 long out through your mouth. Alrighty, let's try it. All right, let's do 4 in a row. Ready? Go. Now that we're all ready to go, I'm going to hand it off to Derek to do the first couple slides. Here you go. Run by the Student Support Center. And this is our SSE staff.
Some of the fun projects were we built structures out of spaghetti and marshmallows, and we built igloos out of cotton balls and paper planes. If you become a student of the week, you get to wear the Student of the Week shirt. You earn a pause folder and prize. PAWS stands for Positive Choices and Responsible Safe Behaviors.
There's the shirt.
Police officer came to the school. He told us about how he supports people. He told us about he never had to take out his gun or shoot it. He allowed us to try on his bulletproof vest. Officer Leo showed us his taser but did not use it. We got to hold the handcuffs and key. Secret reader. Shh, it's a secret. Someone gets invited to the school to surprise us with a story. Camden's mom came to the school and read a book to the SSC class. Miss G from Fallbrook came over to Miss Bosco's classroom and read a book.
Quick back, Miss Bosco.
Heritage Lunch. Tiana, Summer, October, and Orion sung a Christmas song to the crowd. We got to eat food from different countries. Heritage Project. Our family countries. Made posters with pictures and information about our heritage. Therapy dog. A therapy dog came to our SSC class. The dog's name is Bonnie. Bonnie is super nice and cute. Bonnie can run fast. She could sing by howling.
Move your magnet. Every morning, the SSE staff asks the students, what zone are you in? it comes from the zones of regulation, and the zones are blue, I'm moving slow, green, I'm good to go, yellow, I need to slow down, and red, I need to stop. And those are our boards. Luge visitor. Gordy Shears is a silver medalist and 3-time winter game athlete. He talked about sledding and how he goes very fast, up to 90 miles per hour. He likes to sled a lot. He's from the Olympics.
Minute to Win It. In Minute to Win It, we do games during Fun Friday. We made a ring out of chips, and Tiana tried to get an Oreo from her forehead to her mouth with only using her face. And she was able to do it successfully. We knocked over water bottles using tights swinging from players' heads and racing. Once Nick looked like a mummy. Mr. Dolan's visit on Veterans Day. Mr. Dolan was in the Army. He came to SSC classroom and showed us a bunch of cool things. SSC talent. My band group and I sing in the mornings during breakfast. We're called the Nightmares.
Their songs are beautiful. So I get to teach the kids social skills, and I got to see all the SSC students 4 times a week. Some of the skills that I teach are emotions, you can overcome anything, friendship, kindness, respect, manners, and working as a team. Part of the curriculum is called Superflex. It's using superheroes to teach the kids how to use flexible brain power, and they have to overcome the unthinkables, and it's a whole story. It's very engaging for this elementary school level. Thanks for listening.
So thank you. Do you have any questions for us?
Just want to thank the students. You guys did a wonderful job.
They really did. We're very proud of them. So thank you.
Great job. Thank you. Next agenda item is the initial budget numbers. Mr. Prado?
Any better?
No, no.
Any worse? In your packets, there was about 30 pages of information regarding the implementation of the Student Opportunity Act and the governor's initial budget proposal to implement that act. I won't go over all of the information. We spent about 40 minutes in the Finance Committee meeting, and I'm sure members of that committee will throw it there to reinforce that's what I've done. But the bottom line is, this year, FY20, our budget increased by over 6%. It was the first year in 6 years that we had more than the minimum wage. That's because our enrollment is growing. Our enrollment is continuing to grow. However, for FY21, our increase in foundation budget is only 4%. So we thought we were going to benefit significantly from the increase. There were three elements that the Student Opportunity Act wanted to focus on, all for funding. One was funding for ELL students, English language learners. One was funding for low-income students, and one was additional funding from the line item for employee benefits. It appears that rather than focus on low income, most of the money went towards the increase in employee benefits or health insurance. That increment went up 8.9%, Michael will correct me. But our increment for low income only went up 1.2%. The line item for employee benefits benefits every single student in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. But the increments for ELL and low income benefit only those districts that have high enrollment in those two categories. We expected more. I passed out a sheet that's showing our total increase of 4%. In Chapter 78, only $69,070 relates to the Student Opportunity Act. And that's not what we had anticipated. The increment for low income went up 1/25 of what the intended was. It's supposed to go 17% over a 7-year period. Went up 1/25. I'm sure Michael will point out that. We were very hopeful. Our enrollment went up. We documented more ELL and low-income students. But the actual implementation of that legislation is somewhat disappointing. However, our budget will increase by 4% FY21, which is the second largest increase in the last 6 years. And I'll answer your questions, or hopefully members of the Finance Committee will share their ideas.
Mike, do you have anything that you want to start off with?
Yeah, I mean, the fundamental problem is that the governor's budget as proposed by DESE does not count low-income students, despite the clear reassertion of that by, I'm pretty sure this was on, yeah, it's on. Just a reminder, low income is supposed to be effectively students who would qualify for free or reduced lunch. With the community eligibility program, it has become hard to count them, and so the state, starting in fiscal 17, stopped counting that way and came up with a formula for economically disadvantaged. That's economically disadvantaged students are ones who are directly certified by the state, which is effectively just the free lunch students, not the reduced lunch students. The Student Opportunity Act reaffirms that both groups should count. DESE's made no attempt to do so. They've projected our low-income students based on the percent we had in 2016 and have ignored the fact that both locally and statewide that number was going up 1.4% a year. So they projected a lower number of low-income students than economically disadvantaged students, which is mathematically impossible. I don't know the actual number of low-income students we have since we haven't counted them, but it should be about 365 students higher than what we have in our DESE budget based on the trends that we were following. So if those 365 students were counted, even at the rate that DESE used, that would be an extra 1.65 million. So they've shorted us that. Secondly, all the increases in rates were supposed to be done evenly over a 7-year period, so there should be a 1/7 step in every rate this year. They did a 1/7 step in the other rates. The low income rate, they did a 1/25 step. So dramatic. If we're going to make it in 7 years, that would leave them to make much bigger steps later. So obviously we have no control over this locally. The school department is preparing a budget based on the numbers in the governor's budget. Hopefully we will do better. I think that we should be talking to our representatives and talking to Chair of Ways and Means, and Isabel can tell us who else we should talk to. We should advocate. Ultimately, they have a lot of power on whether this gets fixed or not in the legislature. Finance discussed the possibility of perhaps voting on a statement to something to that effect as a school committee. So
I agree.
we've asked Peter to draft one, and we'll bring that forward, and hopefully we'll come up with something we can agree to.
When Milford, Marlborough, and Arlington are getting more money than us, one need not go too much further into the data. There's something clearly wrong.
Right.
And I don't mean a little bit more, I mean a significant amount more when you look at those three other communities, and I'm not even going into places like Quincy or anywhere else.
There's just a quick rough estimate. I think there's about $2.5 million of Chapter 70 funding that we did not get as a combination of these two things, the undercounting of the low-income students and the failure to increase that rate, the amount that they were supposed to do. That's about $2.5 million worth for Leominster.
That meeting that we attended to in Pittsburgh, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
At the college.
What happened? Because you're telling us that it was basically an exercise in futility.
No, we were there to support.
Oh yeah, we were there. But it's like we had our voices cut out. And go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
I mean, the Student Opportunity Act as passed is imperfect, but it made a pretty significant step towards fixing the problem, towards doing what we were advocating in that meeting. What's happened is the governor has chosen to not really implement it according to what was passed. He's chosen an amount of money, and he's divided it up, and he made sure to fully fund the categories that went to everybody, wealthy districts included, and, oh, sorry, that didn't leave enough to fund the low-income kids. I mean, it's a choice. The higher percentage of the extra money is going to wealthy districts and away from districts with more low-income kids. They did not make a good faith effort to count low-income kids. They made no effort to count low-income kids. They took the 2016 percentage and estimated, knowing full well that that would underestimate significantly.
Did they do it on purpose or by accident? Well, I'm just asking.
I don't think anybody would
I can't
be able to say for sure, but
Because
I'm sure
to me, it's
they
like
knew
an
what they were
exercise in futility, because the people who they should have counted, they didn't.
Right.
And Leominster was left, literally, the numbers are there, high and dry.
So the legislature now gets to pass a Chapter 70 funding bill for next year, and the governor has handed them his version, but they will write their version. So this is where the advocacy comes in. We should be pushing them to actually implement what they said they were going to do in the bill they passed, rather than accepting the rather poor implementation the governor has handed them.
Regardless of how much money they actually received, because they should have all gotten more money. Right.
Right. So that's where we are.
Well, that's very unfortunate, and certainly it affects our district more than most. Does anybody else have any thoughts they would like to share with the committee? So, Peter, we look forward to seeing that letter. Thank you so much for volunteering. I'm not so sure how much of a volunteer it was, but we do appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll work with Chris on that.
Yeah.
And the school department is moving forward with our budget, and we will be on at the time frame for March 9th.
Great. All right. Next, we have the approval of the minutes from January 21st.
Motion to approve the minutes?
Do we have a second?
Second.
All, any omissions, errors, corrections?
For the abstaining for the approving the minutes of the prior meeting.
Yep.
I had abstained from that. I apologize for not being more vocal about it. It's my understanding I couldn't vote on it since I was not part of the committee at that time.
Okay. Any other? Yeah.
So,
All right.
also, I'm the secretary.
Yes. Oh,
It still says Brandon.
I won't grant.
I know you really want
Chris,
Brandon.
you really want me to do that, don't you?
Yeah. All right, with those corrections, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Can we just back up 1 second?
Sure.
So, under the new sort of Education Reform Act, there are certain criteria that we're supposed to be using as guidelines to spend those dollars. So how do we, and I think this question needs to be answered, how are we expected to spend those dollars when those dollars are so few? We'd actually be taking from our current budget, this year's budget, to try to balance those directives that we got in terms of how that money in the places. And they want accountability and actually have recommended auditing to make sure that we're looking, auditing our outcomes so it meets the standards and the desire of the act. How are we going to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
How?
They've actually
It's
asked
not
us
even
to
possible.
report as if the whole 1.9 million
Right.
increase in Chapter 70 was Student Opportunity Act, even though it's only 69,000.
Right,
So
and how do you
they're playing a
quantify and
game.
measure that
Yeah.
when that's not
Well, you
even
can't.
possible?
We
It's
don't.
not even,
Because
I'm
they're
just
setting us
saying,
up to fail.
well, yeah,
They're setting us up
but
to
they
fail.
need to understand that from the very beginning. That
We need
this
to
is-
write it in large
Well,
icons.
Peter's gonna
You
write
are
the letter.
setting us up to fail. This is what's gonna happen because we fail. Because we're failing because of you, not because of us.
Well,
And it has to be put out there in blunt.
hopefully these numbers are going to change. And I always talked
Am I-
to the state
am I
representative
right?
last week.
Am I wrong?
We have to submit a plan by April 1.
Right.
You're right, we need to do that.
Right, and I just want to make sure that
Right.
we're public about this, that
Yes.
we have to submit our plan. However,
And we will
Plan
don't
to spend
understand.
$69,000.
Right.
And that's what we're
quite a plan.
right. That's what we have to account for is that measure
Right. Okay, anyway.
somehow.
All right. There was another finance subcommittee minutes. Did you approve that in your?
Yes, we did approve. There is one small correction that Peter brought forward. It says warrants 22 and then 23 through 28, but it should say 24 through 28 because we've done 23 before. Other than that, it was fine. So we would move to approve those minutes with that one correction.
Do we have a second? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving right along, we're going to do subcommittee reports. Finance subcommittee?
So mostly, subcommittee met tonight. Mostly we talked about what we've already talked about. That consumed the meeting. We are having some issues. The Munis upgrade broke compatibility with Crystal Reports that has made payroll difficult downtown. So we heard about that, but that has not changed our ambitious timeline for getting the budget done. I still think we'll be able to do that, so that's pretty much it.
Okay. Finance, Ron, not finance, I'm sorry. Policy.
There was no meeting, policy meeting.
Excellent. So then we'll move right on to action items. And the first thing on our agenda is approval of the field trip.
Yes, and I believe Mr. Pierce is here this evening. He is asking permission for a Choirs of America Festival.
Yes.
Right? And I understand that your fundraising has already begun?
Yes.
Yes, people were very happy this morning.
Yes, they were.
Yes, they were.
Go ahead, please tell us about it.
Certainly. The Leominster High School Chorus is proposing to travel to New York City on April 16th through the 18th. That is the Thursday and Friday before April vacation and the Saturday of April vacation. At this point, we have 23 chorus students signed up for the trip. We have 2 teachers from the high school and 3 parents. We've been doing a lot of active fundraising actually since the beginning of the year to reduce the burden on the students. And the kids are very excited about it. On this 3-day trip, we'll be traveling by bus. We'll be using the same travel company that we've used for the past 7 or 8 years. Great reputation of Bennett Student Travel from out of Fitchburg. On the first day, we will arrive in New York City. We'll be doing a full day of workshops at Queen's University. It's not just us. We are part of a massed choir, so there are hundreds of students that are engaged in this festival. On the second day, it's a very full day. In the morning, we'll be doing a dress rehearsal at Carnegie Hall, followed by touring in the city, including the 9/11 Memorial and Times Square. We will have a performance that night as part of the massed choir at Carnegie Hall, and including a world premiere composition, which has been written just for this festival. And I believe we're directed by Dr. Anton Armstrong, a well-known choral clinician, I think from University of Florida. On the third day, we will be attending a Broadway Workshop and a performance of Dear Evan Hansen, and then we will be traveling by bus back home. So it's very jam-packed with both opportunities for performance and learning from other people, as well as some recreation. So this is the chorus. We're trying to travel every 2 years, always domestically, and just to give the students experiences that they cannot have here. I believe travel for students really expands their experiences and just kind of opens their eyes to other opportunities. So I'm asking for, because it is an overnight field trip, I'm asking permission from the school committee at this time.
Great, sounds like a wonderful opportunity.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Excellent. All right, we got a first and second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful time.
Thank you.
Any sleeping in there? You didn't even talk about sleeping.
We're going.
Overrated.
They're not sleeping.
Overrated.
Sleeping on the bus.
We never sleep in New York.
No.
Yeah. This
It is a city that never sleeps.
I know.
Good.
I know.
Thank you very much
Sounds
for your
like a
time.
wonderful trip.
Thank
I don't
you.
know if anybody saw Arthur on TV during Christmas.
I did.
I did
Yes.
too.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Very nice.
Congratulations.
Thank you very
On the
much.
common.
I appreciate it.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Did a great job.
All right, we have the second reading, Ron, of a bunch of policies.
Yeah, second reading from the policies of committee, second reading, I'll take it in whole block form.
Yes.
Reading HF, IC/ICA, IE, IGA, IGD, IHAMB, IHAE, IHAQA, IHBA, IHBAA, IHBF, IHBG, IHCA, IHCB, and IIP. And you'll see them, they're all in the back over here, in the back of this pamphlet that we got with our emails. I make a motion that
To approve those.
to approve these in block form.
Yep, do I have a
I'll
second?
second the motion.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ron.
I just had a question. So
Sure.
are these discussed at the,
Yeah.
so the general public might not know exactly what we just passed, other than it sounds like a Three Stooges kind of ABC, IEP. And so in general, can you just summarize what these policies are in the event that?
It all has to do with, well, there's some collective bargaining, organization of instruction, the school calendar, virtual learning, physical education,
Collective bargaining.
curriculum
American with
containing
disabilities.
sexual issues, CTEI criteria for home selection, which
Home
we haven't done
instruction.
in a long time, but it's in
Extra
there.
help, high school.
So-
we have a
Americans with
rich dialogue
disability.
Going over this.
Homebound instruction,
So my thought is just that
summer school.
if we don't, these aren't meetings for the subcommittees aren't televised. So that's when, once we get them and we have these discussions, and somebody might wonder, so will these be up on the website if somebody wants to take a peek at them?
Yes.
I believe so.
If you can, yeah. That would just be helpful. So that way, if somebody's like, we're passing policy, what are they passing?
All we do is we take a section, and then we go through each one. Some we update, some we
Fine.
change words.
Because if you notice, for example, on file IGD, curriculum approval and implementation, you'll see legal reference, MGL, Chapter 71, Section 1, Chapter 69, SECIE. And that was adopted the last time on 12/16/19. We go over this with a fine tooth and comb. Eileen will tell you, we have arguments that nobody sees us having the arguments. Am I right or am I
I would like
wrong?
to say that they're good discussions.
Yes, spirited, a good, healthy discussion.
So if anybody's interested, they'll be up on the website, and just look under policy and they'll go.
It's true.
Do we have any new or old business? I think we do have the Day on the Hill coming up in May, so we
Yeah.
have some time.
I already told Chris I'm going there.
Okay, and if anybody else is interested or would like to attend, please let Chris know. Does anybody else think that they can? I don't know the date.
I don't know if it's gonna be on the hill again, or if it's gonna be at that, that other building that they had, because they were doing some construction in that area. Because the past 2 years, it's been, I think it's the Mason building, right off the Boston
We
Common.
should be getting more information
I hope
between
so.
now and then,
I hope so.
to clarify that. Thank you, Ron, for volunteering. Sue?
I just wanted to remind people about the superintendent evaluation workshop on February 13th. And you must sign up on the listserv, MASC listserv to go. So, does anybody go?
I'm going. I already signed up, right?
Okay.
Is that a Thursday?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm going. Do you know where it is?
I thought it was at,
Was it in
Thursday or
Westminster?
I
It's in
thought it was.
Westminster,
Yeah.
right, at the CAPS Collaborative Building.
yeah,
Yep.
they're gonna send me a note, the directions and everything. I gotta put it in my car.
Okay.
So,
So we have a couple going?
yeah, and then
Yeah.
Paula said she's
Anybody
gonna
else?
send me an email of her.
Yep. So we've got
So that
two
way-
people going. If anybody else decides to go, please just
Because I
register.
spoke to Tracy at that MASC conference. She was supposed to come here and go over with fine tooth and comb. I haven't heard anything from her, so when I see her, I'm gonna talk and have a little bit of a dialogue, a rich dialogue with her, saying, you know, you're supposed to email me and you didn't, what happened?
Okay. Anybody else have any new or old business?
I'd like to thank whoever it is that left these off here, because
I know,
I think there's
do we-
candy in here.
Since
Since
we
I
know
haven't
what
eaten all
it
day, I'm
is.
gonna have a healthy diet here for the rest of
Feels
the
like
day.
chocolate.
I like the
Beet juice.
chocolate.
People drink beet juice?
Listen, we're all getting sick. We're doing whatever we can.
Beet juice.
All right, so,
I think there should
and
be a new
this is gonna
policy
be like
against
our
drinking
all-time
beet
quickest
juice.
meeting ever. I feel like we missed something. Anybody else have anything to add? All right, then if I can have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all, thank you. Stay healthy, folks.
Yes, please.